What is up, Honey Badger Nation? This is John Kitchens, and welcome to episode 173 of Expert Mentors Live. And I've got my main man, Mr. Alex Piech, going to be there. He is back on us, and Alex has had more airtime on Expert Mentors than anybody else. I think, Alex, this is number 6. And so all I can tell you guys listening into this episode, we're going to dive into not only is Alex one of my dearest friends on the planet, but he is arguably, in my humblest of opinion, the most skilled and articulate real estate agent I've ever had the opportunity to be around. And man, I've seen some straight up gangsters, but Alex tends to take the cake. And if you guys can go back on the previous episodes that we've had Alex, man, you guys are in for a treat. Go all the way back to episode 8, man, back in 2018. The last episode we did was 137. And I promise you, you can exponentially grow your real estate business just off of the previous 5 and then today as well, your real estate business. So anytime that have the opportunity to get Alex on, I'm always looking forward to it, and I know today is going to be no different. So, Alex, man, say what's up. Say what's up to Honey Badger Nation.
What's happening, man?
What a shit show. I'll just put it that way. I'm texting Alex 2 minutes before we go live is that I'm coming in hot.
Yeah, that's all right. I got my
message saying, "Where's the link?"
Got my camera facing all the wrong directions. It's it's all good.
Oh, good, man. We're here. We're ready to rock and roll, add some value. And man, I'm super excited to jam with you. I'll let you give 2-minute Cliff Note version because folks can go back and obviously we'll give them all the ways to connect with you. But sure. Man, if you guys are struggling in any area of your business, go back and watch the previous episodes Alex was a part of. And it'll definitely help you get unstuck in a lot of areas as it relates to production in your real estate business.
Cool. Yeah, man. I appreciate that. As always, we were chatting one night and we're just doing what we do, just chopping it up. And we came across the topic that we're going to chat about with today. And it's not something that I've ever done a presentation on, but it's something that I've been talking to all my clients about. So this morning I said, man, I hate showing up, not being prepared. So I said, I'm going to put together some slides. And then I realized I had 3 coaching calls back to back before this. So I'm like, what in the hell was I thinking? And so you said we're coming in hot. I was like, well, I'm not even here yet. So we're definitely coming in hot. But I've got some cool stuff to share with you guys. Hopefully everybody here knows me. I'm not as active as I should be in the group. But yeah, man, I love all things real estate. I love helping realtors grow their business. I love the marketing side of things. What we're doing today is not marketing. I think agents really get caught up in the shiny objects. So this is not going to be the sexiest show where we're talking to you about video and all this YouTube and Facebook and Instagram shit. All that works if you know what the basics and the foundations are of how to make that work. And that's kind of what we're going to chop it up and talk about today. So,
yeah, I love it. And guys, we went the sexy route on some previous episodes that Alex broke apart and just actionable items that if you guys take action on, and you and I've talked to so many people, and hey, what do I need to be saying on my content? What do I need to be saying on YouTube? But yet it's like, bro, like, are you putting in the work to do the fundamentals that matter the most in this business? Like, y'all getting hung up on stuff that's important, but stuff that's not critical. That's just kind of where my observation with agents over the last 12 to 18 months, they get caught up just being busy.
Yeah. And you can be really busy in this business doing all the wrong things that don't produce dollars. Right. And I think that's some of the challenge I have with the shiny object. Listen, I know a lot about a lot of things in real estate, especially lead generation and marketing. I could be creating a ton of shit and products to sell real estate agents, but I don't do it on purpose because so many people do that. And I think it's a disservice to real estate agents. Like, you buy this course and you think it's going to solve your real estate challenge, and it doesn't. Like, real estate is really a very basic business for success. There are principles that you need to follow. If you do the right things in the right order, you will have success. Most real estate agents do a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of this. They don't do anything 100%, and then they're on to the next shiny object because somebody they look up to says, oh my God, this is working right now, and they pivot. So the cool thing is there's 100 different ways to grow your real estate business. YouTube, Facebook, video, door knocking, prospecting, cold calling, circle prospecting. Guys, it all works if you do it consistently enough. Now, I believe there are things you should be doing in a right order, which we'll get into today. There's things that are going to fast track your success, but they all take work. They all take consistency. There is no shiny object, silver bullet that just, I'm going to sell 100 homes doing this one. None of that shit works. Like, I'm going to break it down to the fundamentals of what is the one thing you absolutely need to be focused on every single day. Real estate agents have big goals, shiny objects, but they struggle with what's the one thing I need to do today? And that's what we're going to break down today. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, I love it, man. A couple things that just came to mind. You said that, and it's just really kind of our culture these days. And it's really revolved around just snacking. Right. It's a snacking culture. And I think of Zane, and, that little dude, he's skinny as a rail, but all the dude does is snack and nibble all day. Like, I went in and I was, I was doing something, and I looked, the trash can lid was kind of open, and I was like, this was after school yesterday. There was an empty pack of Funyuns. There was a package of Little Bites. There was a jerky pack. I was like, that dude just nonstop nibbling, just snacking. But that's kind of our culture. And I see it just because we spend so much time in the real estate space. I just see that as one of the major things that's holding agents back, is that they just snack all the time. They don't dive in deep. They don't put in the deep work. They don't go the distance on what it takes to be successful.
Yeah, instant gratification, man. That's what it comes down to. But it's funny, my little guy, he's the same damn way. He gets the stool out, gets up into the cabinets, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I'm hungry." Like, you just ate. He's like, "I want chips. I want this and all." And he is skinny as a rail, and he eats all freaking day long, and he just snacks. But he don't eat dinner. He doesn't eat lunch because he's full, because he eats snacks all day.
Yeah.
So, but I love it. But he drives me nuts.
So the other thing that you kind of prompted in, I got this, also resonated from another one of our very dear close friends, Blake Sloan. And I remember we were sitting down in Key West at the end of 20, and, we had gone through pandemic, and, we were all just kind of frustrated, like, get the hell out of here. So we go the place we know that they weren't paying attention to, the rest of the world, which was Florida, and even more so Key West. And so we're sitting there, and I just asked him, man, I said, Hey, what is the number one thing that's led to y'all's success this year? And what did they close? Almost 800 units this year. Yeah, and he said the number, he didn't even hesitate. He didn't have to think about it. He said the number one thing was the daily commitment from everybody on our team, committing to the one thing that was within their control that they were going to accomplish today that was going to move their business forward. I was like, holy shit. And he says it's been an absolute game changer. Now, there's more to it, and how you incorporate leadership into it, and in your culture of accountability. But it was the one thing that stood out, and I see that from the people that are the most productive when it comes to whatever in their life. And it's what you're going to really dive into with everybody today is, man, what's just the one thing within your control that you can focus on that's going to help you crush your goals?
100%. Yeah. Let's keep it stupid simple, right? Like, don't get overwhelmed. Just what's in your control? What can you do today? How can you track it? And know that just doing that one thing takes care of everything else in your business. That's really what I've been preaching this over the last couple of months to all of my clients who I work with, like, let's get real simple, man. Let's focus on this one thing that takes care of everything else. And we'll break that down today. So it'll be a good one for sure.
So let's do this. How we always look at everything, and we always start with the end in mind. And we have to get real clear on the destination, because if we just start trying to commit to something, and that's my challenge with people. And I know it all starts with commitment, but when I hear that and people just jumping up and down, it's got to be commitment. It's like, but what are you committing to?
Right.
And it's like, Alex, I want to go do this. And we know, I mean, you and I've talked about the Ironman story the whole time, when I was going through it, but I had to figure out what it meant before I could commit to it. So my challenge to everybody, that's listening to this, is that you have to start with the end in mind before you can really get down to, okay, well, what's the one thing within my control that I can focus on and commit to that's going to move the needle in my business? So let's start with the end in mind, and let's reverse engineer it for them.
Cool. Yeah. Let me see if I can share my screen.
Yes, sir. Let me tweak it up.
I don't know what screen it's going to There we go. I'm going to share screen 2.
Boom. We are there. It is going.
That went way easier than I thought. All right. Now I can't see you guys because it's sharing on both screens, but you can kind of see the blueprint we got up here, John.
I got it. Looks good.
All right. Cool. So let's just roll through. Introduction. If you guys have watched, you guys already know who I am. Real estate coach, trainer. I love all things marketing, lead conversion. That's really my jam, my specialty, specifically in direct response style marketing. Dan Kennedy, putting things of value in exchange for people's contact information. That's really what I enjoy doing. Been in real estate for a lot longer than I can even believe. Owned franchises, owned independent companies, created a great real estate brand in Dallas in 2016 with John and Mike, expert. I can't even remember half the time what the hell we called it.
We changed names 3 times. So
yeah. Expert Advisor Home Services. Ding, ding, ding. So, we grew that to 268 closings our first 12 months using marketing, lead generation, and conversion strategies. We partnered with agents and did all that for them. So that is definitely my jam. Most importantly, I'm a father of 2, husband, love the kiddos, love my wife, super blessed, happy with all that. My kids do drive me absolutely freaking batshit crazy. Going on 3 years now of no sleep, but I'm still rocking and rolling. So I'm happy. What I want to talk about today is really what is the change in the thing that we need to focus on in 2022. So on today's training, we're going to talk about the one metric daily activity that I want you guys to absolutely focus on that will allow you to crush your 2022 sales goals. In order to do that, like John said, we got to start with the end in mind. What is the end result? So I promise you guys, this is not going to be all goal setting. It's not going to be that call. It'll make sense, but I have to take you through this practice. What is your income goal for 2022? The basic goal setting practice, you got to know how much do you want to make. Add 16,000 to the top of that for your EXP cap, so you can kind of take out the commission. It just makes the math easier. So let's say you want to make 250 grand. That is your income goal. Well, now you need to know your numbers. So what's your average sales price? What's your average commission percentage? And what's your average income per deal? You have to know these, guys. These are 3 critical impact areas of your business. People always come to me, John, with I want to sell X amount of homes. It's a terrible goal, because if you sell those homes, but your average price drops by 50 grand, you're going to come up short of your income goal. If you hit your transaction number, but you have more discounted commissions, you're going to fall short. Okay. So we need to know these numbers. These are the critical numbers. Go back and look at 2021. If you want to know what your average sales price is, look at your total volume divided by the number of closings. That will give you your real sales price. I get on calls with agents. They tell me my average sales price is $450. We do the math. It's $410. Like, dude, you're setting yourself up for failure, right? Let's do it the right way. Average commission percentage. This is another one. I make 3%. I make 2.5%. It's always wrong. It's always wrong. They forget about the discount here, the concession here. They forget about those things. So take your 2021 gross commission income divided by your total volume. That'll tell you your real estate commission, what you're bringing on your part of that deal. And then your average income per deal, take your GCI divided by that number, and you're going to figure out what is your commission check per transaction. Okay. So,
the other thing real quick, I don't mean to cut off.
Yeah.
I just want to add something else to this. And I did this exercise with an agent just this morning, and we just ballparked number of hours worked. And we took that and we divided those hours, and we got the dollar per hour rate there as well. And it was not where it needed to be. So it was eye-opening, but I think it's eye-opening for everybody that does that. And most people don't want to look at it, right? Because they have this idea of what they believe it is. However, when you do the math, they're like, holy shit, that's not good. Like,
yeah,
that's not good.
Yeah. I think agents, they listen to what they've been told by other people, and they set these kind of unrealistic expectations right now. You just got to know your numbers, because once you know them, we can track and measure so that we can improve, right? Don't judge yourself based off of, what we perceive to be the goal based on what other people tell us. Know where you are now, then you could actually get better. And that's kind of what we want people to do by going through this practice, is know where you actually are so we can set the goals and the improvements based on real numbers, and that'll have a better impact. So when we look at your 2022 income goal, let's say it was $250,000. We have our income goal divided by our average income per deal. That's going to tell you how many transactions you need to do in 2022. Now, if you are tracking, just a quick recap, so now we know what our transaction number is for 2022, but we have to look at our average sales price target. We have to look at our average commission percentage target. Those two, because if you are pacing, but your average sales price is higher or lower, same thing for your commission, we need to pivot on our goals to make sure we reach our actual income goals. That makes sense?
And absolutely. And this is something that, you don't do one time and throw in the drawer. It's something that you want to look at on a consistent basis. And, it was one of the things, I probably obsessed and looked over it more than what we should, but we paid attention to it every week. We saw kind of what we were pacing, what our numbers were, what were our averages. Our averages are the averages. It's just math. That's the one thing, about math, is that it's black and white. and it tells the story. And so that's where I think a lot of agents, man, they don't want to look at the math. They have this idea in their head, and, they would rather, be the old ostrich and stick his head in the sand instead of knowing where we're at, because that's where, to me, that's where it all starts is, being able to just be truthful with where your business is at.
Yeah, for sure. And if you are evaluating this at the end of every month, now you can pivot and say, oh man, I was slightly off my average sales price this month. I need to pay attention to that next month. And if you're in a market where maybe the average sales prices might be moving, then I overestimated my average sales price based on what's coming into my business. I need to redo these numbers to set up what my new target transaction goals are to see how I continue to stay on pace. So you got to be evaluating these things every single month. Now, once you have this, you're going to know I need to do 48 transactions in 2022 to hit my goal. And most of us will divide that by 12 and say, okay, I need to be pacing 4 transactions a month, which is cool. So the next step in this process is, you guys got to understand, not every person we work with turns into a closed transaction. Now, today, listings might be selling at a 98% clip. That's not normal. That's not going to be here forever. And your buyer side versus seller side are going to be different. If you're buyer heavy in today's market, where you might have to write 10 offers before you get one accepted, 20 offers. You might get buyer fatigue where buyers bail out on you because they're tired of dealing with this market. So you got to know what your closing ratio is.
Alex, I mean, here's the thing, guys, to think about. 2016, what Alex was talking about, where we went from a dead standstill to 2.2 million in revenue in 12 months. Our average at that time, the market, we were in one of the hottest markets on the planet. We were still only like 81 to 83% listing taken to listing sold ratio. So think about that for a second.
Yep.
And, for us, what we identified, because you and I talked about it all the time. Why in the F are we like, this market's so hot? You can just throw a sign in the yard, it should sell, but yet we're only this low. But it taught us is that our agents weren't skilled enough and they were taking listings that were overpriced that should have never been priced the way they were priced. And so even in ridiculously absurd markets, except for maybe a couple months last year, you still have to, you still got to make sure that you're positioning the home in the market to be able to still get it sold.
100%. So, I'm all things North Dallas, right? Like that is my real estate market. If you're looking to buy something in Plano, Frisco, Prosper, Salina, Little Elm, Allen, that's my jam. I specialize there. I'm not one of those agents where, I see a referral come up in Fort Worth and I'm like, no, I ain't going to Fort Worth. I'm also not going to Rockwall, Rowlett, South Dallas. Like I am a specialist in my market. And what I can tell you is in my market, what I've looked at historically over the last 6 months is we still have a 10% fallout rate where homes are not selling. So in this North Dallas market, we had like 8,400 sales in the last 6 months. We had 850 homes fail to sell, right? So about 10%, even in the hottest market I've ever seen in my 20-year real estate career, 10% of homes still are failing to sell. So
yeah, you and I are the same way on this too, right? When we hear from people, man, everything's selling. There's no expires. There's nothing not selling. I'm like, show me.
Right.
Show me the data. Don't tell me, show me. Show me the data. Let's look at the numbers.
Yeah, you'll be shocked. So even in today's market, it's still 10% is what I'm seeing. So let's just say, John, if you need 4 closed, 80% of your clients close. That means you really need 5 clients a month. 80% of those will turn into a closing. 80% of 5, 4 transactions. Okay. So now your real new target is 5 clients a month. Well, not everybody you meet with signs up to work with you. Not every listing you win. Not every buyer chooses you as their buyer agent. So,
Alex, do you when you get to this point right here and you've done this and you're like 5 per month, so this goes back to the commitment piece that we were talking about in the beginning. Do you then say, is that something you can commit to? Or do you keep reverse engineering down to the one thing within their control to say, can you commit to that?
I still go to the next step.
Okay.
And this is you're spot on with where we're going with this. So, all right. So now we know it's really 5 clients. And most people are like, yeah, that's cool. I could do that. Great. Well, not every client you meet works with you. So let's say you're really good. And I know there's going to be agents here, John, that says everybody that I meet with works with me. Well, that means,
why is that?
That means 2 things. Number 1, you ain't doing enough business. Okay. Number 2, you're working with shitty clients that you should not be working with.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah. I would agree. And 2, maybe a little caveat to that as well is they're only they're not doing enough deals, but they're only doing things with people that know them, like them, love them, trust them.
Right.
So
which means
they don't have to.
Of one pillar.
They feel sorry for them. Like, shit, yeah, I'll work with you. I'm your buddy. I'm your friend. I like you. We'll work together. But what happens when you try to grow and you get in front of somebody that doesn't know you?
Yep. And we went down that route. We had an agent that we partnered with, did phenomenal numbers. Every single deal. And when I say every deal, literally 100% of her deals were from a sphere or past client, a referral to her. Never had to sell herself, never had to differentiate herself, walked in already positioned for the deal. When we started generating opportunities, she converted 0 because she didn't have a value proposition to differentiate herself. She couldn't talk to those people because her last client just referred. She was now competing against other agents in the market. So that's two different skill sets in value proposition. So you have to know this number getting into it. So what I do is I break agents down and say, let's say you're really good and you close 80% of the people you meet work with you. Well, 80% of 5, yes, 6.2. Well, there's no such thing as a 0.2 of a client. So you really need 7 appointments a month to get 5 people to work with you, in which 80% close to get your 4 transactions. Hopefully everybody tracked with me on how I brought it from 7 to the end result of 4 transactions. Was that clear?
Yep.
Okay, cool. John, this is where 95% of agents stop right here and they say, got it, 7 appointments a month. And I'll even say, hey, based on that, you had a $250,000 goal. We only need to get 7 appointments a month. How do you feel? Dude, I could do that. They're all energized. Here's the next step. We then break it down into what do you need to do every week? Well, 7 appointments. That's 4 weeks in a month. I need 1.75 appointments per week. I only need to get 2 appointments a week. I feel even better. 99.9% of agents stop right here. They're super jazzed up and excited. Now they're focused on, I need to get 2 appointments a week. That feels way more attainable versus this big ass goal of making $250,000 a year. $250,000 felt like a reach, but 1.75 appointments a week, I can do that. John, how many times have you heard, like, when we get here, people are like, oh, dude, this is easy.
That's all the first thing they go to. This is easy. This is easy. I would say simple.
Yeah.
I think that's where they get mixed up in their heads and the terminology, right? So keeping it black and white, we're breaking this down. We're keeping it simple. We didn't say anything about easy. And I think
100%.
that's where a lot of agents get tripped up, Alex, is that fuck, this is easy. I got this. It's like,
yep.
All right, bro.
Oh, dude, they're so excited about here. They're like, I can do this. This is easy, but it's not. It's simple if you follow what we're going to show you next, but it takes effort. But most people stop right here, John, and then they show up to work and they struggle with, what do I do today? I know I only need 2 appointments this week. What do I do? This is where the wheels fall off with real estate agents, is what are the daily activities? And this is where I started thinking about, okay, how do we really make this simple? Well, here's a question for you. What's the one thing you need to do to set an appointment? If we know we need 2 this week, what's the one thing you absolutely need to do that turns into an appointment? And the answer is simple. You got to have a conversation.
You got to talk to people.
You have to speak to people. And this really, as when I was working with Frank Kern, and I'm going to share with you, this is where the light bulb went off. It's the number one metric you need to track in 2022 is conversation. Conversation ratios are the most accurate way to reverse engineer your goal. Not by appointments, not by average sales price. Reverse engineer your conversation ratios. And I'm going to do this with you, is the most accurate way to reverse engineer your goals. And here's why. This is where, when I was working with Frank Kern, light bulb went off. Why are conversations so important? Well, you have to understand the real estate sales process for buyers and sellers. We do marketing to generate leads. We do all the fancy automations and drip, all this to eventually do what? Have a conversation to then set the appointment. When you set the appointment, you do your presentation. At your presentation, they either become a client or they don't. If they become a client, then they either sell or they don't. That is the sales process. There's nobody doing it any differently in real estate. It's been done this way for 100 years. You need to talk to somebody to eventually get them to sit down and talk about buying or selling with you. Does that make sense?
It does. One thing that I think agents make a mistake on is they mistake engagement as conversation, and engagement is not a conversation. Engagement to me is the interaction, the bubbling up. You send the video text to create engagement. Hey, if you were drowning and I threw you a life preserver, would you grab it? Yes. Great. Let's have a conversation. Let's find out what you're trying to accomplish, what your goals are, because if I don't know what you're trying to do, I can't help you. And so for me to know that, we have to have a conversation. Would be a good time for us to get together. So that's one of the things that I see, Alex, is that they mistake engagement for a conversation.
100%. So when I sit down with my team here and we talk about conversations, I define conversations as a two-way communication where we're talking about their real estate goals.
I love
that. Could be done face-to-face. That could be done via phone call. Today's world, it could be done via text or video. It could also be done through some different, direct messaging, right? People are closing deals on Facebook and Instagram and things like that. It's usually not going to include email because email usually is not instantaneous back and forth dialogue. You can email and they can get back to you in a day or two or a week. So we want instantaneous two-way communication.
Alex, I just want to highlight a principle here for everybody listening in. This principle, what Alex is talking about, is you have to define what the words mean. You have to get everybody on the same page. So when you're going through with your team, you may define something. It's just like the simplest way to think about this is my definition of success is going to be different than anybody else's. And so we have to get on the same page, meaning define your words. So we say conversation. I loved what you just did right here. And this has to be a huge takeaway for everybody listening in is define conversation, define a lead, define an appointment. Like, what does that mean in your organization, in your sales engine? What does that mean? So everybody's on the same page within your organization, that we're speaking the same language. The most frustrating thing on the planet, and you and I dealt with this with everything at NAEA, everything at Expert Advisor, is that people would say certain words, but they like, what does that mean? Let's get on. You were the best at this. You're like, what does that mean? Like, what are you talking about? Let's get on the same page. Define that for me. So I just want to emphasize, because I know how important that is within an organization, is that when you're not speaking the same language, it hurts. It really hurts the organization.
Yeah. Listen, I always talk to me like I'm in 5th grade. Like, I don't want to have to read in between the lines. Make this shit simple. And it ultimately comes down to, do we agree on this? Because if not, then we each have different expectations and we're screwed. So do we agree? Yes, great. Now we move forward. We all know what we're being judged and measured by. So when we talk about conversation ratios, and this is where I hope everybody's light bulb goes off and this shit starts making sense, right? So there's an appointment set ratio. And I want everybody to do this. Can you still see me, or do you only see the?
No, I see you. I see you.
I keep a notebook at my desk, and it says January 17th, call session, contacts, and then I just put dashes. And what I do is then at the end of the week, I go back and I keep an Excel spreadsheet, and I put how many conversations, dashes, that I have. Then I put appointments set. What I'm looking for is how many conversations did it take for me to set a listing presentation or buyer presentation? Because now I've got my conversation to appointment ratio. Now, this can be greatly impacted, guys, on the type of lead you are calling. If you are calling expireds, FSBO, your sphere of influence, your past clients, or circle prospecting, they are each going to have a different conversation to appointment set ratio. If you call all of your sphere of influence or past clients, it's going to take far fewer conversations to set an appointment. If you're calling expired leads, it's going to take far fewer conversations to set an appointment versus if you're just randomly circle prospecting. So you got to know this. There is a so-called real estate free coach out there, And he tells people to circle prospect. And I'm on his Facebook page, and every single day I see these poor real estate agents post 5 hours of circle prospecting today, 800 calls, 100 conversations. I got 2 emails, and people are like, congratulations. And I'm like, good luck paying your bills with 2 email addresses. Like, that shit don't make sense. There's no way in hell I would ever tell you to just randomly call strangers who don't want to do anything in real estate and tell you that's success. Now, here's the caveat. That shit works. In 2 years, when you have a database full of 500 people you spoke to, that shit ain't going to pay your bills today. And if your success is I captured an email, Jesus Christ, I got a lot better shit I want to do with 6 hours of my day than just talk to people and collect 2 emails. So you got to know these numbers, and you got to identify who the hell you're going to be calling, because it's going to change your conversation to appointment ratio. I'm going to share with you guys a ballpark. Okay. So I was in a couple of high-level masterminds, people doing hundreds of transactions a year who actually track this. And where they were at is, on average, 1 sale resulted from 50 conversations. Let me share that again. 1 sale resulted in 50 conversations. So if they wanted to sell 4 deals a month, they needed to have 200 conversations a month. Okay. Those are ballpark goals. So we know we're pushing for appointments that eventually turn into sales. So I'm going to give you guys a benchmark. And again, this is taking into consideration all lead sources. 1 in 20 conversations should result in an appointment. If you are a badass on the phone, this is going to be like 1 in 5, 1 in 8, 1 in 10. Okay. Is going to result in this. But again, caveat based on your leads. When we were doing this, John, and we were doing call nights, I was probably setting 2 to 3 appointments per 10 conversations. They were all pay-per-click leads. If you had to start rolling in FSBO, absentee owner, circle prospecting, neighborhood prospecting, that number would drastically balloon, right? Because those are cold leads. So you got to know. So I'm going to give you a target of 1 in 25. If you are doing expireds, you should be crushing this. If you're doing past client sphere, you should be crushing this. If you are going just solely circle prospecting or real cold lead generation, guys, it might be 1 in 50, right? You have to understand how this kind of changes. So let's reverse engineer this down. If your goal is 2 appointments a week, and we're saying 1 in 25 conversations results in appointments, your goal this week is 50 conversations. So how do you judge yourself as to whether or not you were successful this week? Did you win the week? Did you have 50 conversations? Now, you could take this the next step further. John, you hit on this. How many days do you want to work? I don't want to work every single day.
Nope.
So let's say you were only going to set your goals up for 4 days a week of prospecting. Well, now you got to make those 50 conversations happen in 4 days, which means you need to focus on 12.5 conversations per day. That's a daily goal. Again, there's no such thing as a half a conversation. 13 conversations a day. If you do 13 conversations a day, everything else in your business is taken care of. I absolutely promise you, if you are talking to 13 people a day about buying and selling real estate, you will win. You will crush your goals. You can't see on my camera, but on my whiteboard, mine says 15 conversations a day, 4 days a week. That is what I set for my personal goal. So everything I'm showing you, I've done for myself, I've done for my team, I've done for my clients. Now, the question is, how do you have 13 conversations a day? Well, this is where the most important next question is, what are your 4 core pillars of business? If you don't have 4 core pillars of business, guys, you are in trouble. If you are the agent that says, I do everything on past clients, Good for you. It's not scalable. It's not duplicatable. You can't hire a team to it. You can't work less hours. You can't go on vacation because you're out of business when it's not tied to you. Every successful mega agent, successful team, successful single has a minimum of 4 pillars of business. Call them oil wells. Like one runs dry, you better have 3 more or else you're screwed.
Yep.
Now, the cool thing is there's a lot of different pillars. So you could build this about what you're passionate about. Past clients, sphere of influence, pay-per-click leads, Google, Bing, open houses, pick a geographical farm, master expires, FISBOs, absentee owners, be a beast on social media, do event-based prospecting. I don't care. Pick 4 and be relentless. Because if you have 4, you'll get rid of the real estate roller coaster in your business, the ups and downs, the peaks and valleys, and you'll have a more secure business where if something fundamentally changes, you're not screwed, you're not out of business. This is really important because I remember in 2007, 8, 9, 10, when the market crashed, there were agents in my Connecticut market who pivoted to go 100% REO. And guys, they crushed it for a couple of years.
Yep.
But once REO dried up, guess what? They had huge staffs to manage REO. They never lead generated. They never worked with clients. All they did was manage the transactions. So for 1 to 2 years after that, their business sucked. They had to repivot their entire business because there was no more REO listings. They had no lead generation. They were a business of 1, a foundation of 1, which is too weak. So we need 4. So here's what I ask everybody. What's your commitment? What are the skill sets you need to work on? What are the systems and processes you need to follow? And I ask my agents this, what do you want to be held accountable to? For me, it's conversations. I talk to them, hey, how many conversations this week? Did you hit it? Yes or no? That's a direct effort. The cool thing about what we're talking about today, guys, this is an effort thing. This isn't who has the most money. This is who's going to be committed to saying, I don't care if I prospect for 10 minutes today. If I have my 15 conversations, I'm done. But if I don't, I might have to prospect for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. Shit, if I didn't reach my goal, I might have to prospect on Saturday. But that is effort. And that to me is what is exciting about this, because you are in direct control as to whether or not you guys crush 2022. So that was my my presentation that I put together for everybody.
I love it. It was on point. And like you said, absolutely simple. But where it's not easy is that we're talking about effort. And, most people don't have the inner and outer workings dialed in to stay disciplined and consistent to the effort every day. Like you said, 15 conversations for you, 13 on the example of the 250K. However, it's those conversations every day. And so give a ballpark, for you, all things just on an average to get 15 conversations a day. What's the time commitment?
Yeah. So again, based on lead source. So I am very heavy on Google pay-per-click. So pay-per-click leads. It'll take me about 90 minutes to 2 hours to hit that.
Yep. And so, are you somebody that can commit to 2 hours a day to achieve the conversations needed to achieve your goals?
Yeah.
Yes or no? And so that's where, being in an environment of accountability, either with the peer or in a group or with a coach, to achieve that is absolutely critical. And it goes back to something you said earlier that, I'm pretty sure most people didn't catch, is the delayed gratification, because the 2 hours today that results in conversations that can get you, what we said, not even one appointment today, possibly with 15 conversations doesn't equate to an appointment on average for most people. Are you okay with not setting an appointment today, but you did do the things within your control? And most people are not, right? They need to see the instant gratification. And so when you look at the 4C cycle of how do we build confidence, but it all starts with commitment. Are you willing to commit to 2 hours a day to 15 conversations that statistically you may or may not set an appointment today, but are you willing to commit to that? And are you able to, the other C, have the courage to stay in the fight, to stay disciplined, to stay consistent, and develop the capabilities, the skills that you said, right? To then get the wins, the delayed gratifications to build our confidence. And most people, man, they're just not disciplined to that. And that's where they take their foot off the gas.
Yeah.
And I both know this. You're either growing or you're dying. And if you take the foot off the gas and you're coasting, you ain't growing.
Yeah, no, you're so spot on, dude. Like that neutral spot of life is that's a shitty place to be living, right? That's like the slow death, right? You think you're good, but you're just coasting. And here's the thing, when I ask, like, what are you committed to growing skill wise? You will get so damn good because you consistently do this. Like, I'll set sometimes 2-3 appointments in my 15 conversations.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't take long. So when we set these numbers up, this is assuming newer agents, and you guys have never tracked this. Start tracking, give it 3 to 6 months. And what you might find is I'm setting an appointment for every 10. I just cut this by 60, 70%. I mean, I'm getting really good on this lead source. I'm going to double this lead source. And that's when your business becomes fun. That's when your business becomes scalable, predictable, profitable. Like when I work with agents, I don't want to help you just sell more homes. I want to help you build a scalable, profitable, and enjoyable business. Those are the 3 things I focus on. Is it scalable? Is it duplicatable? Is this shit going to be fun? Is it eventually going to get you to where you're living the life that you're trying to design, right? Yeah. So those are the 3 things we judge everything by. And you'll get really damn good at this. And your numbers will just get better and better and better. Your lead sources will get better and better and better. So
it does, man. It just it's just one of the things, and it's like you said, man, it's within your control. And you've got to measure it. If you're not willing to measure, there's no way to improve. And that's where I say, if you're in an environment, it's all about what we reveal, we can heal. And if you're not willing to track, then you're not willing to get better. That's the way I look at it. If you're not willing to measure, there's no way you're committed to get better. And so it takes the effort, but it takes the tracking and the monitoring and the feedback and the improvement. Because it does, man, it comes down to what we reveal, we can heal. And especially if you're committed to growth, if you're committed to doing amazing things, big things. I mean, shit, $250K a year. I mean, you in a small percentage of income earners on the planet. But it takes you 2 hours a day, 48 weeks a year. Is that what it was? 50 weeks a year? 4 days a week?
Yeah. So like when I do mine, I base mine on taking 8 weeks off a year.
Even better.
So my numbers based off of 8 weeks off and only making calls 4 days a week. So you could play with this, and the guys build the business that provides the quality of life that you want, right? Yeah. It's kind of reverse what we do. We get into real estate, we run around, and real estate impacts the quality of our life. I'm doing my shit the opposite, right? So I started with what I want my business to look like, how many days off, and then, I got to call for 2 hours a day, because if I don't, I'm going to have to not take 8 weeks off. I'm not going to not be able to travel. And John, this is the thing that I'm arguably one of the worst in the world at. I don't track shit. Like when somebody asked me this, I was like, I don't know. So I had to go get a damn notebook and start fucking scratching out every conversation. And I ain't fancy. I put it in a notebook with tick marks because
I love it.
Never track it. But this has been so eye-opening, and it makes it fun. Like, how many people don't cold call because they hate rejection? I just want somebody to pick up the phone and have a conversation. I don't care if at the end you tell me no. It's one less conversation that I know gets me to my goal. So I'm okay with no's now, but it was a conversation. I get to put the little tick mark on today. The other thing I will tell you that I do, because you asked me how long I'm calling, is I'm putting, so this one day I called from 9:40 to 11:20. Then I called again from 11:45 to 12. So I actually put the times so that I can start to see how many contacts per hour. And that really allows me then to 2022, 2023, 2024, I'll be able to really say, man, I want to make X amount of dollars. How many people do I speak to? And it makes building my business significantly easier at that point, just knowing those numbers.
I love it, man. Here's the thing. I want to give everybody a simple formula for your business. It's offers minus no's equals yeses. If you're not getting enough yeses, it's because you're not getting enough no's. And if you're not getting enough no's, you're not making enough offers. You're not having enough conversations to be rejected, to be able to get a yes, to set an appointment. It is that simple. Yeah. We're not saying it's easy, guys, because it takes effort. Because what Alex is really talking about with y'all today is effort. And that's the one thing I see with real estate agents. The mass majority of real estate agents are not willing to put in the effort.
Yep. I want to share this, John, because you hit on this. So can they see my other screen now?
They can now. Okay.
So you hit on this. Guys, if you really want to know what it looks like, if you want to get to that top 10%, 5%, these are numbers from last year. This is the percentage of agents earning certain dollar amounts. If you made $250,000 selling real estate, you are in the top 5% of all realtors in the country. Only 2% are making over $500,000 and 1% earning over $1 million. That's the breakdown of real estate. I think the median income is still somewhat sub 40,000, like 38, 39 grand, something like that. Like, it's crazy, but those are the numbers. I'm going to tell all of you guys to go do this. If you guys are not taking advantage of your NAR membership and getting your free home buyer profile every single year. So this is the 2021 was just released. Guys, this tells you everything you want to know. Where your clients are coming from, what clients say are important, what were their deciding factors in buying and selling, how they found their agents, what they think is useful marketing, how it breaks down. Like, look at this to guide my business. Who are the people I need to be serving? What do they think is important? One of the things I shared on my Facebook stories, because I think it's important for real estate agents, we talk to agents all the time who think the shingle they hang, the brand they're associated with, adds value and customers give a shit about it. But if you look at the customer feedback, they don't give a shit who you work for. But we think about these. So what I use this for, to be honest with you, is to get out of my own head, John, and I'll stop sharing that. You guys should all go get that. It's given to us for free. What I use this for is to get out of my own limiting beliefs. We're in real estate, so we have our perceived beliefs. Oh, people think that my brand is important. I fell for that. I paid 30 grand for a RE/MAX franchise at 22-year-old because what? Nobody in the world sells more real estate than RE/MAX. RE/MAX has 56% market share on TV. There's more. I was like, okay, guys, that cost me so much money. And I loved RE/MAX. Like, I loved it. But that belief system cost me money. I use this to say, okay, take myself out of the equation. Where do buyers and sellers find real estate agents? What marketing do they think is important? What skill set in the agent do they find important? Because now, if I could start marketing what I do and align to what the consumer sees valuable, now I win the game. So while other agents are saying, I'm number one, nobody sells more, like they're doing all this cute stuff, I can run an ugly ad that talks about the 4 things that they actually give a shit about, and I'm going to get way more opt-ins and more leads because I'm talking to people about things that they actually care about.
Yeah. So powerful. Brother, Amazing as always, and super powerful, and real actionable items. More so, not only from understanding right things, right order, but also I think right things, right order in their head. And to me, that's if you really get down to it, at the end of the day, what is the one thing that we all have control over, and it's our thoughts. And so if we know we're in control of that, and then we turn that into action, and what is the action that we can, within our control, and it all starts with the effort. I mean, are you even willing to put in the effort to get the results that you claim you want? So, man, brother, I appreciate you. It's always fun to chop it up and jam, and you're just a wealth of knowledge and information in the real estate space, and also as a human being. So for everybody listening in, make sure you guys give lots of love to Alex. Alex, what's the best way for everybody to plug in with you, as well as I want you to plug your book?
Yeah. So the book is, how to become the dominant go-to agent in your market. And I took a lot of the training and the philosophies that we used when we built Partner, and really kind of distilled it down to the most simplest things agents need to be doing. I share a lot of my scripts and things that, you can free download. There's like 9 bonus resources that you get in downloads. It's available on Amazon. You guys can definitely check that out. Facebook is probably the one platform I'm most active on, and Instagram. So you can check me out there. Everything is just under my name, Alex Piech. Come check me out there. And then obviously, usually after these calls, I get a ton of people sending me messages. So whatever I can do to help you out, I give all my resources away. So whatever I can do to assist you guys, let me know.
Cool. You guys make sure you plug in, connect with Alex. Feel free to reach out. Like I said, he's probably, in my opinion, he is the number one most skilled, articulate, talented agent that I've ever had the opportunity to be around. So if you guys aren't connected, taking advantage of in getting into Alex's world, you're doing yourself a disservice if you're really committed to growing your real estate business. So, brother, appreciate you as always. And I know we'll have you back on in the future, and we'll catch all of you guys on the next episode. See you.
Awesome. Love you. Thanks, man. Appreciate you.
See you, bro. Bye.